Welcome to Hero Club.
I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm George Primavera.
George and I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with our buddies in college, and we haven't stopped since. Even when we lived on opposite coasts, I would Skype in George on the TV in the living room of my apartment,
while I would DM from the floor of my bathroom so as not to wake up my roommate. When I finally came out to Los Angeles, we started playing with our friends right away.
And when we'd inevitably tell other people about the ultimate betrayals and daring heroics that happened in our games, we realized that they were just hearing a jumbled mess instead of the cinematic blockbuster memories that were in our heads. We wanted to show people how fun and immersive D&D can be, especially those who had never played.
And to do that, we record a full game like normal around the table and then painstakingly cut it down from 4 hours to a clean, math-free episode, so you can experience our memories the way we do.
Just like in a real game, nothing is ever written or planned out ahead of time with the players. The only things we add are music and sound effects.
I am the Dungeon Master. I build the world and the framework for an adventure. The players, like Nick, must then journey through the obstacles I set before them, rolling a 20-sided die and adding character-specific bonuses to see if they succeed. If they beat the number I have in my head, then their action is successful. If not, it is a failure, and there may be consequences. We try to follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as close as we can, but as the Dungeon Master, what I say goes, and there are some things I like to do differently.
Each season is its own contained story, so find one that sounds interesting to you and start from the top. And hey,
welcome to the club. This week, Hero Club's guest is Nolan North. Nolan, is there anything you want to tell the people?
Oh, yeah, sure. Happy to be here. This is so much fun. And everybody should, on top of Hero Club, check out Retro Replay. Troy Baker and I have a show. And you should get up there, subscribe for free, or send us money, whatever. Either way, we're going to be there doing our silly stuff. So check it out, Retro Replay on YouTube.
For those of you who don't know, the name's Hank Blackstone, P.I. of the unexplainable. Let's catch you up to speed. I was born without a nickel to my name in New York City back in 1909. Dad pulled a Houdini before I could even walk, and Ma died when I was only 10. No one could take care of me except for me, and I became the Babe Ruth of picking pockets. One day I found myself in front of Dante's Inferno, home of magic and mystery. I don't know what it was about the joint, but it called my name. There were lots of dusty old doodads in there, but an ornate deck of cards caught my eye. I asked the geezer behind the counter to grab something from the top shelf, and I swiped it. I had no idea what I had. As soon as I got around the corner, I couldn't help it anymore. Not sure what made me do it, but I shuffled the deck and pulled a card. The Jack of Hearts. As soon as I did, the card caught fire and slowly took the form of a small boy, not much bigger than me. A small boy made of stone. I named him Charlie, and we've been best pals ever since. He's gotten much bigger, and he's built like a brick shithouse, but his heart's made of pure gold. The old man from the store caught up with me the next morning. To my surprise, he said he was impressed. Introduced himself as Dante Laporta, sole proprietor of Dante's Inferno. He brought us in and took us under his wing. I finally had a home, and in exchange, Chuck and I helped him with his magic act. He explained to us that what I had stolen was in fact Alvira's deck, and that each card within produces a random magical result. He also told us that while there was a card that summoned Charlie, there was also a card that would take him back, forever. We locked the deck away and promised to only open it for absolute emergencies. As the years went by, old Dante taught me the skills of illusion and sleight of hand, while giving Charlie free reign of his library chock full of old tomes on magic and folklore. He showed us that not all magic is for show, and there are darker forces at work that most people don't dare think about. One of these dark creatures would wind up punching the old man's ticket one night while we were away. In his last breath, he gave us the shop and made us promise to never stop fighting those dark things that go bump in the night, like he had. We made good on that promise 5 years ago, when Chuck and I got tangled up with a Nazi scientist and a magical violin-wielding mafioso named Marblemouth. Try and say that 5 times fast. Long story short, they were planning on destroying New York with an evil ritual from the Necronomicon. Chuck and I stopped them. Most people know that night as Flight Night. I know it as the night I died and came back to life. I haven't been sleeping lately.
Hero Club presents Paid Back in Spades, a Hank Blackstone mystery. Chapter 1, The Predicament Escape.
Henry Blackstone, I can see everything. You are nobody. Did you think you could escape me? Did you think my death was the end of me? You have seen the other side, and you will return there. But this time, I will be waiting for you. See you in the next one.
Hank Blackstone wakes with a start. An open bottle of bourbon tips over and pours over papers on a striking mahogany desk, one of which is a newspaper emblazoned with the day's date, February 13th, 1951. The headline reads, Flight Night Memorial unveiled in Central Park, with a photo of a statue, 3 people running while holding hands, 2 of the 3 apparently helping the injured third along. The stink of bourbon overpowers the dingy smell of old books that line the walls in Hank's study.
Hank is a slight, not too tall man, in a charcoal gray, double-breasted flannel suit that was clearly slept in the night before. He has a large burn scar where his right ear should be that he covers with a tilted dark brown fedora, and a 5 o'clock shadow so dark you could hide in it. He sort of lazily reaches into his sleeve and pulls out a long scarf that he uses to mop up the bourbon on the desk. As he rights the bottle of bourbon, he looks at it, takes a quick peek around his surroundings, and finishes it off. What time is it? He reaches into his coat and pulls out a pocket watch.
The time reads 10:45 a.m.
Rubbing his eyes, he pats out a cigarette from a pack from his breast pocket and lights it. He opens up the blinds on his window and shields his eyes as the sun comes in.
Below, the financial district of New York City is bustling and busy as usual.
He straightens up his suit just enough to be presentable in an old, dusty mirror on one wall of his study and heads out into the main room of Dante's Inferno.
The main room of this apartment office is set up to look quite similar to a magic shop. All of the wooden furniture and shelving is made of the same stained mahogany, and a fraying velvet carpet pads every step taken in the room. Books line every wall, and a multitude of packs of cards sit in a well-lit jewel case, each with different iconography and in various states of condition. Modest stone pedestals support seemingly mundane objects. A black bowler hat, a blue pack of matches, and a clear crystal ball are among these items. The bright sun projects a square of white light through a skylight, which shines through the crystal ball, casting a faint rainbow onto a leather chair across the abode. 2 such leather chairs frame a massive wooden globe, easily 3 feet in diameter. Suddenly, the door to the domicile swings open, the words Dante's Inferno inscribed on the grainy window, and in walks Hank's partner, Big Charlie, holding a couple of coffees in his hand.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around the clock tonight. Hey, Hank, put your glad rags on. Join me, hun. We're going to have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're going to rock. Come on, around the clock tonight. Join with me. We're going to rock, rock, rock till broad daylight.
Will you shut the hell up, Chuck? God damn, it's early.
It's almost 11 o'clock, Hank. You're just getting up now? Thought I'd bring you some coffee. Charlie is a 7-foot-tall rock golem, made up of many stones, boulders, and rocks in a vaguely human shape. Beneath his tough exterior lies an intelligence and a curiosity about all things human. He sets a pair of novelty glasses, complete with a big nose, mustache, and bushy eyebrows, on the desk, and hands Hank a coffee.
You didn't go out like that, did you?
Oh, like this? No. I had the glasses on. Don't worry. Have you heard this song, Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and his Comets? I heard it on a jukebox, and it just really spoke to me. I never knew how many sounds and songs you could hear walking around the streets of New York. It's incredible.
Yeah, New York's a magical place. Hank ashes the cigarette onto one of the many ashtrays littering Dante's Inferno and sips his coffee. Thanks for the coffee, Chuck.
No problem. You get some sleep last night?
Charlie, make a perception check.
Botch.
Hank does look tired.
Yeah, a little bit, Chuck. I was just going over some paperwork. Had a late night.
Yeah, that paperwork can be pretty messy. Never underestimate how hard running your own business can be.
Yeah, tell me about it. I've never had to deal with receipts before.
Yeah, well, Dick McCoy called, with the police. He said he had something important to talk to us about.
Oh, yeah, here, let me just tidy up a bit.
Hank and Charlie go about putting several objects back into place, Charlie putting in quite a bit more effort than Hank.
Charlie walks over to a bust. Hey, Hank, you seen the scarf of Count Vanderhorn anywhere?
Oh, yeah, I was just giving it a once-over in my study. I'll be right back. Hank walks into his study and grabs the scarf that he used to wipe up all the bourbon earlier. Shit. He wrings it out half-heartedly and brings it back to Chuck.
Huh, it's looking a little damper than normal. This is a magical scarf. You remember when we got this, right? It allows me to go into any location completely unheard.
Yeah, Chuck, I remember the scarf of Camp Vanderhorn, of course.
There's a knock at the door.
Oh, I think that's Dick. Charlie goes over to the novelty glasses and puts them on. As soon as he does, his craggy rock surface transforms into human skin. These are special glasses. They allow Charlie to look exactly like a human when he's wearing them. A handsome, distinguished, albeit large, middle-aged man with a salt and pepper mustache and graying hair. This allows him to blend into society seamlessly.
Hank straightens up his suit one more time, replaces his fedora hat, and opens the door.
Sergeant Dick McCoy is a tall, lanky noodle of a fella. He stands at about 6 feet tall and can't possibly weigh more than 160 pounds. His tousled brown hair and lineless face betray his youth, in stark contrast with his high rank in his New York police precinct. He hangs up his cap and coat on a nearby hook in a rather familiar way and settles into a chair before saying anything. He rubs his temples. Hank, Chuck, I have had a morning, fellas. And a night.
Dick McCoy, our man on the inside. Tell us about it, Dick. What's so important that you had to come all the way down here to the financial district?
Well, first of all, just some, housekeeping. Got you a bottle of your favorite, just to say thanks for, catching that blood-sucking thing that ate all those goats in Jersey. I did what you said, and I blamed it on a rabid bear, and that went over great, so thanks. Yeah, what, Chupacuba? What was that? What was that thing?
Chupacabra.
Oh.
And yeah, the rabid bear routine always works.
People are very afraid of rabid bears.
They did not question it, even for a second. But I'm not here about that. Guys, it's a little complicated. I can't tell you what's going on unless you promise not to say anything to anybody.
Dick, anything you say to us will be handled with the discretion that we bestow upon each of our clients.
I mean, who am I gonna tell? All I do is hang out in the library, and you're supposed to be quiet there.
No, really, guys, I need it from you straight. I need you to promise. Dick looks a little frightened.
Yeah, you got it, Dick.
I promise.
I promise.
I also promise. Everything okay, Dick?
Okay. There was a murder at Rikers last night. I know it doesn't sound like anything, but somebody broke in, and the man was killed.
Someone broke into Rikers?
Yeah, broke in. His cellmate was cleared.
For the record, that does sound like something.
People die at Rikers all the time. The mob's getting pretty violent down there. We had to install a morgue in the basement.
Yeah, but I've heard of people breaking out of there, but I've never heard of someone breaking in.
Well, it happened right under everyone's noses. Nobody's exactly sure how it happened. The convict was Jimmy Spinelli?
I think I know that name. Maybe I read about him in the paper.
That wasn't in the paper, Chuck. That's Soapy Eyes Jim he's talking about. Remember that mobster that Marble Mouth set us up with? He loved Jake Quaid, that baseball player you hate, and he was part of that setup, when Marble Mouth tried to kill us.
Oh, yeah. That fuddy-duddy. Always hobnobbing around with the mob. Hobnob. It's my word of the day.
Yeah, that's a good one. Dick, what's going on with Soapy Eyes?
Well, he's dead.
Oh, wow.
Shit.
Wow.
That's who you're talking about is dead.
Well, I'll give you the whole story. So, apparently, there were some Irish fellas getting a little out of hand at Rikers, so I went down to transfer them out, break up the power structure in there, make things a little more calm. And while we were transferring them in the dead of night, Soapy Eyes was killed, but he was killed in a very unusual way. They took his head.
Who took his head?
We have no idea.
Couple follow-ups. We've seen a lot of beheadings.
You have?
You hired us to find a blood-sucking chupacabra last week.
Yeah, you're right.
They love heads.
Now, around the scene, did you see any parts of the head, or was the head just missing entirely?
Missing entirely from what I heard. I didn't get to check out the scene myself. Listen, this is all horrifying, but I wouldn't have come to you unless it was for a good reason. You see, when I got told about the whole thing, first of all, they kind of threatened to blame me about it, and they said not to say anything or else my whole family would be in trouble, which, is off-putting, but would have shut me up, except that when I saw the mail start going out, which all of the cops were searching, of course, I saw something on top of the pile that was labeled Dante's Inferno, and, well, I read it, and here. He hands Hank the letter.
Hank pulls a sharp playing card out of his pocket and opens the letter with it like a letter opener. He pulls out the letter and begins to read. Writing to my dear friends Hank Blackstone and Big Charlie. I heard that you guys are pretty incognito now, so I know there's a chance that this letter evaporates into thin air. If that's true, then I'm really screwed. I can't say exactly what I want to say in this letter because of how many people read these things in prison, and being eloquent was never my thing. He spelled it E-L-O-K-W-E-N-T.
Wow.
So I'll just say, you are in danger. Leave New York as soon as you can. You can't be lazy about this. Leave right now. You'll be safe at my brother Ike's house in New Jersey. Just get to this address.
257 Porcelain Street. Just go past the water and around the bend. Soapy Eyes.
He is bad at spelling.
I don't think this man has ever seen a dictionary in his life.
Both of you roll an investigation check.
3.
30.
Hank, immediately, you notice something about every word that is misspelled. The words seem to be infrequent, and the words that are misspelled seem to be jammed into place, almost as if Soapy Eyes, when writing the letter, was searching for a specific word.
Hank takes the letter over to a desk at the corner of the room and clears off some paperwork before slamming down the letter, pulling out a pen from a drawer, and circling the misspelled words. Chuck, Soapy Eyes was dumb, but he wasn't this dumb. Here, bear with me here. He misspelled writing with an R, incognito with an O-H.
Right, no, but without the W.
Evaporates with an A. Really screwed with an extra A on really and no E on screwed.
Cuz spelled C-U-Z.
Eloquent, like I said, E-L-O-K-W-E-N-T.
Leave with no E.
Lazy with an I instead of a Y. And brother with an O instead of an E.
Hank, roll another investigation check.
25. Hank begins writing out a sentence using the first letter of each of these misspelled words. R-I-K-E-R-S. Rikers. C-E-L-L-B. Rikers Cell B. Soapy Eyes has given us a big clue here, Chuck. From beyond the grave.
But look, this address here, I looked through an address book for Jersey, and that street's nowhere. Especially not with that address. There's a Porcelain spelled a different way somewhere in like South Jersey, but it's definitely not that address.
Well, what do we know that's porcelain? And included in any prison cell?
Toilets.
Bingo.
Toilets?
Past the water and around the bend. He's talking about the pipes.
So wait, did he leave something in there for you?
There's only one way to find out, Dick. We're going to Rikers.
No, wait, hold on. We can't go to Rikers. They shut the whole place down. I can't bring a visitor into Rikers right now. Unless, no, that's crazy.
What?
No, there's no way.
Dick, again, you hired us to kill a chupacabra last week. We deal in crazy.
Killing the chupacabra was very easy. We can do this.
I could put you guys in khaki and bring you in.
Lucky for you. Khaki looks great on me.
Serious? You guys are game for this?
Soapy Eyes sent us this letter on his dying day. Us, specifically. We'll do whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this.
Look, I don't like the guy, but who am I to refuse a dead man's wish?
Dick, give us 12 hours in there and then get us the hell out.
Oh, jeez, I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, but one quick thing. One of you guys gotta hit me.
What?
Hank and Charlie walk out of Dante's Inferno with Dick McCoy in tow, now holding an ice pack to his cheek. Jeez, you hit me really hard.
I mean, I don't know why you chose me to hit you. I am clearly very strong.
Yeah, but your eyes are nicer.
That really doesn't make a difference when it comes to a fist in your face.
No, he's right, Chuck. I would have gone for the groin.
Hank, Charlie, and Dick file into a tiny little elevator, face front. The doors close automatically.
Hank looks to the front right corner of the elevator as he walks in, at an empty stool. Take us to the first floor, Ern.
The elevator jerks downward. I'm never gonna get used to that. It's now approaching 1 p.m. as Hank and Charlie step out of Sergeant McCoy's automobile and onto a rickety wooden dock. Cold ocean air whipping at Hank's cheeks, stinging them fiercely. Charlie, though physically appearing quite windswept, seems rather nonchalant about the weather. Okay, fellas, this is our stop. Dick leads you down the wooden dock and to a ferry that is covered in barnacles and mold. An ancient-looking dockworker looks on, a little bit interested. After you, fellas. We'll get changed on the boat.
Hank leads the three towards the boat, with Charlie close in tow.
As they step into the boat, it rocks with the ocean a little bit. And then, as all three are aboard, it takes off, lurching forward, little sprays of water catching Hank and Charlie unaware. Dick goes to a compartment underneath the wheel of the boat, lazily operating it, pulls open the hatch, and hands Hank and Charlie 2 full khaki outfits, with prison numbers above the lapel. I don't think we got anything in your size, but you could probably squeeze into this if you can. I won't look, I promise.
Hank methodically takes off his suit and folds it neatly in a pile before putting on the jumpsuit. As he does, he reveals various odd magic items, from decks of cards to scarves to ropes to rings, and places them all neatly on top of his pile. Now, Dick, I don't want to see any of this go missing. In 12 hours, I want them all back. They might seem mundane to you, but I assure you they're not.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm actually just gonna deliver them right back to Dante's Inferno as soon as I get out of here.
I feel a little naked without them all.
Well, you are naked, so please put those khakis on.
Yeah, fair enough.
Charlie squeezes into the khaki jumpsuit. It's a little bit snug, but it fits. He makes sure to keep on the glasses of disguise so he can maintain his human form. Hey, is this what the ocean feels like? It's kinda crazy. Rocking back and forth. Nobody told me it was so erratic.
The tiny boat settles next to a reciprocal dock on Rikers Island. The massive complex looming overhead with the foreboding of a hangman's noose. Dick sheepishly pulls out a couple of pairs of handcuffs. Sorry guys, it's policy.
Here we go, Hank. It's a one-way ticket to Antsville.
Hank takes the handcuffs and puts them on himself. That's all right, Dick. I've never met a pair of handcuffs I couldn't get out of myself.
Okay, but, don't get out of them, because we'll take you out of them in a second.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay. Sorry, I should just trust you. You did help me, take care of that chupacuba. All right.
Chupacabra, Mexican folklore. I'm sorry. We have a job to do.
Dick leads them forward, the barbed wire fences at least 15 feet high and shimmering in the bright white sunlight. A few guards approach Hank and Charlie.
Arms out, feet apart.
Hank complies.
After a quick search, Hank and Charlie are confirmed to be clean, and they are led into a very tiny room to be processed. There are minuscule chairs and a small round table. The three sit down, Dick sort of off to the side, and in walks Warden Thorndyke.
Parker Thorndyke has dark gray hair and wears a brown wool suit. He's exactly 6 feet even and has a thin pencil mustache. He looks down at a clipboard he's carrying and back up at Hank and Chuck. Well now, assaulting an officer. Looks like you two boys are troublemakers. A little uncharacteristic to be held at Rikers for trial, but I welcome any opportunity to distribute a little bit of discipline. Mr. Blackstone and... The warden looks Charlie up and down and then turns back to the clipboard. Laporta.
Yes, that's me.
I'll have you both know, I ran Angola prison for 10 years before transferring here, and I won't tolerate no troublemakers in my prison. The warden hands a clipboard off to a guard and barely acknowledges Dick McCoy. Thank you, Sergeant.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And you know that I'll be back in 12 hours to pick these guys up for...
The warden is already walking out of the room.
Yeah, swell. Oh, all right. Well, fellas, I guess this is where we part ways. I mean, this is what you get for hitting me.
And I do it again, you son of a bitch. Am I doing good?
12 hours, Dick. Screw you, pig!
All right, yeah, 12 hours, okay.
Oink, oink, get moving, piggy!
Go back to the barnyard, pig. Go. We love you, Dick. We love you so much.
You smell like shit, you pig.
We're so sorry. Get out of here, oinkster.
I never want to see you again, you pig.
A guard kicks Hank and Charlie into gear.
Wreck time, boys. Get out in the yard and don't look at anybody too long.
Of course, sir. You'll have no trouble from us.
The guard shuttles Hank and Charlie down a cold cement hallway. They are jeered at as they pass several populated cells.
I like the looks of them cheeks. Welcome to Rikers.
And then Hank and Charlie are out in the yard. Every single inmate is gathered up in one small quadrant of this fenced-in, very sparse field. As the guard enters the yard, all of the inmates quickly look up and stand at attention. And there is a particularly big man holding another seemingly unconscious fellow up on his feet.
God damn it, Mick. Did you do it again?
What's that? Did I do what?
Did you knock out another guy, Mick? The ward is full. I don't have room for this guy.
No. See, he's just sleeping.
Oh, he's sleeping? Is that why I can see his bone sticking out of his arm?
Boys, he fucking fell, right?
Yeah, he fell.
Yeah, he definitely fell.
Jesus Christ, just give him here.
The guard takes the man under his shoulder and leaves the inmates in the yard. Before he leaves, the guard uncuffs Charlie and then goes to uncuff Hank.
And Hank hands him his already uncuffed cuffs.
What the? Did somebody already uncuff you?
Yeah. The warden did.
Roll a deception check.
20.
The guard glares at Hank and then disappears.
Sorry, Chuck, I got carried away. I'm just so used to getting out of stuff like that. Muscle memory, you know.
I mean, it was impressive, but maybe let's try to keep a low profile.
Hey!
To say that Mick Flanagan is big is a hilarious understatement. He stands a foot taller than everyone else in the prison yard, even an inch or two taller than Charlie, and at least as wide, exploding out of his prison getup. His winter coat desperately clinging together by a single button. His skin is pale white with rosy cheeks, and thinning orange hair sits in fraying curls atop his head. His blue eyes appear steely and cold, though he smiles from ear to ear when he sees you. Every other tooth is made of gold.
Oh, that looks like a guy who'll serve you up a knuckle sandwich.
Hey, big fella. Come on over here.
Sir, are you referring to me?
Yeah, referring to you, big guy.
Yeah, Chuck, he's calling you over there.
Hey, before I go over there, in prison, do people have a sort of hierarchy or different way of going about things? Is there anything I should know before I go introduce myself to this fella?
I mean, look, I've never been in prison, but I have heard that you're supposed to just bash the first person you see.
Hello, sir. My name is Charles, but you can call me Chuck. I think I should punch you in the face now?
Oh, well, yeah. You know, I had this whole thing planned. I was going to ask what you were in here for, and I was going to see if you maybe wanted to scrap a little bit. Because I was wondering, you know, why is this big man talking to this fucking lapdog over there? But you came in strong, so you know what? Go ahead. I'll give you the first swing.
Lapdog! Hank sprints in and uppercuts Mick in the face. 20.
Mick barely reacts as the fist crashes against his chin.
Hank lands, sees that the punch barely did anything, and throws a follow-up jab right at Mick's nose. 25.
Another hit.
Does this mean we're friends now?
Hank is now facing off with Mick, and Charlie feels somebody sidle up next to him.
Is your friend out of his fucking mind? Taking on Ginger Mick like that.
Oh, hello. What's your name? I'm Charlie.
Charlie, 'tis it. Shea Dempsey. What you in for?
Punching a pig cop in the face, just like you, right? I mean, what are you in here for?
Well, I wore a pig cop's face at a party. Took it off with a knife. Me and Ginger Mick in for the same thing.
Wow. That's incredible. A fellow criminal like me can really relate to that. You say that Hank taking on Ginger Mick, you called him, is a bad thing?
Cutting back over to Hank and Ginger Mick.
Lapdog, I don't normally deal with people like you, so you want to try that again? Huh? I'll give you 4. 4 free ones, and then I start going to town.
4. All right. Hank swiftly kicks Mick in the crotch 4 times. Get it!
With each kick, Mick jerks forward a little bit, but then straightens back up.
Oh, thank you, Lapdog. That's the most action I've gotten in a long time. My turn.
A gigantic fist rockets toward Hank's face. Hank takes 12 damage, bringing him down to 66 points of health.
Is
that all you got, you big
And Hank takes 26 damage, bringing him down to 40 points of health.
Hank goes to his knees.
We done here.
Cutting back to Dempsey and Chuck.
Not a good idea to kick him in the fruits like that. Had him removed 3 or 4 years ago in a knife fight in the cafeteria. Bad move.
Hey, Hank, my new friend here says you should probably call this.
Hank weakly throws up a thumbs up and attempts to stand, unsuccessfully.
Hey, Mr. Dempsey, you think I should help him out, or would that exacerbate the situation here?
Please, Mr. Dempsey's my father. God rest his soul. No, you probably should stay by my side. Ginger Mick isn't take too kind to others coming up and slapping him around.
Okay, lapdog. It's good that you know your place. Very cute. But now on to your friend. Oh, fuck. Hey, Dempsey, you taking my playmate? Huh? You want a fucking piece of this?
You know I don't, Mick, sir. Never would. In fact, if we were around the pub, I'd buy you a Guinness now, wouldn't I? But my friend here would like to have a word. Go on.
Thank you, sir. I mean, Shea. Hello, Mick. Ginger Mick. I'm sorry that we got off on the wrong foot here, but I'd like to apologize if I said anything that hurt your feelings. I'm Charlie. I'm new in town. Charlie extends a hand. And any friend of Shea's is a friend of mine.
Roll a persuasion check.
29.
You know what? You got kind eyes, Charlie.
Mick drops his guard.
I'll say this. I call you Charlie. You call me Big Mick. None of this ginger fucking business, alright? And, you keep that fucking lapdog away from me and you and I could have a good relationship in here. We could make some waves. Big guys. We use these things, our muscles, and not our fucking brains, alright? I like you, Charlie.
Big Mick pats Charlie's face.
Steady, motherfucker. You got a job in to steal or something?
Shea looks on from the sidelines forlornly. Is this the end of him and Big Mick?
Oh, Mick.
Big Mick gives Dempsey a wave, and 9 or 10 of the inmates gather up in a circle, once in a while casting a gaze over to Charlie and Hank.
Hey, Hank, how's your spleen?
Hank spits out a tooth. Charlie, he nailed me twice in the face. Just bap, bap, right after. You didn't help at all.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I thought you had it handled. I was talking to my friend Shea over there, just trying to get a lay of the land.
Chuck, look at my fucking face. Does it look like I had it handled?
I'm sorry. I thought we were supposed to lay low. I didn't want to cause a scene.
You're the punch guy. You're supposed to come in and punch. And I know I got a little hot there.
Excuse me. Sorry to bother. Are you Hank and Charlie?
Before you stands a man about 5'8", 160 pounds, brown hair, and heavy stubble. He looks at both of you with a bit of hope in his eyes.
Hank dusts himself off and extends his hand. Yeah, that's me, Hank Blackstone. And this is Charlie over here.
Oh, hello. Do you have a last name?
Yes, sir. It's Laporta. And who do we have the pleasure of speaking to?
I'm Ike Wheeler. I run the library. And I'm the one who sent that letter.
Wait, you're not Soapy Eyes, Jim.
Unfortunately, Soapy Eyes is dead.
Yeah, we heard. That's why we're in here.
They cut off his head. It was horrible.
Did you see it?
The head? No. I didn't see anything. I was asleep.
In the letter you said Riker's cell B.
Well, I'm in B257, but I didn't write the letter. I found it under my pillow with instructions from Soapy Eyes to send it to your address. And now here you are.
Yeah, we have 12 hours in here to try to figure out as much as we can.
A guard comes back into the prison yard.
All right, everybody, time to go home. Just kidding, back to yourselves. Every time.
Heard it before you, Concha. What a fucking clown.
Prisoners begin to move single file down the cold hallway. Ike finds his way between Hank and Charlie as they move towards cell block B.
Walking between you two helps me stay warm.
Well, anything we can do to help.
Anything?
You know what? Within reason, yes.
I'd be willing to shave my stubble.
I think your stubble looks very handsome on you.
Yeah, you look great, Ike. Real classy. Now show us to your cell.
I thought you'd never ask. Here it is.
A guard pushes Ike bodily into cell 257, and then pushes Hank and Charlie into the next cell, 258. The doors slam shut. and Ike's voice whispers to Hank and Charlie from the next cell over.
We're so close and yet so far.
Ike, now listen carefully. In the letter, Soapy Eye says he left something for us in your toilet, in your cell. Past the water and around the bend, in the pipe. Now, can you get that for us?
Probably. I have very small hands.
Ike walks over to the toilet.
Ike, roll a sleight of hand check.
21.
With ease, Ike's hand slips down the metal toilet bowl, grasps something laden in cloth, and yanks it out with a squelch.
Oh, it's like reaching under the rug. I got something. Ooh.
Ike walks back over to the bars.
Yes, I found something.
Pass it over. Hank reaches over to Ike's cell.
A guard walks by just as Ike is about to hand it over. Hey, less familiar.
Hank puts both hands up in the bars and retracts.
3 hours till lights out. Put your shit away.
This time, Hank times his reach with the guard's rounds and attempts to do it more stealthily.
Hank and Ike roll a stealth check.
13.
16.
Just barely, Hank and Ike make the swap.
Hank retracts the object into his cell and unwraps it.
Beneath sopping wet brown cloth, Hank delicately reveals a pristine diamond prism with little insignias inscribed over every single surface. Both of you roll a history check and an arcana check.
Nat 20 for history and 6 for arcana.
21 history, 20 arcana.
Both Hank and Chuck look at each other at the same time.
Celtic.
Ooh, this is real nifty. Something magical about this. Thanks, Ike.
Ike leans close to the bars.
What is it? What is it?
It's hard to tell in our current state, but it's definitely Celtic and probably pretty valuable.
For a few hours, Hank and Chuck have little meager conversations with Ike. Once in a while, an exchange catches the attention of a guard, which brings about the obvious reprimand.
The pillows aren't bad, but the pillowcases are a little rough. You get used to it. I would grow a beard. I'm growing a beard. You guys should grow beards. Do you like beards?
Has it taken you this long to grow this much beard?
Am I growing a beard? I've been hit on the head a lot.
Hey, what's it like to have tiny hands? Because I have the opposite problem.
Well, I've had to use a pocket watch because the ones on your wrist just keep falling off and I lose them.
Hey, what are you in here for anyway, Ike?
I don't remember. I've been hit on the head a lot. I can taste colors.
Wow, that's fascinating. What does red taste like?
Who are you two? Have we met?
Finally, the guard moves over to a gigantic, comical switch and flicks it, and the lights go down.
Ah, dark!
Shut the fuck up, Ike!
Sorry, Lawrence.
Hey, Ike. Hank and I would love to take a look around your cell. Maybe we can figure out what happened to Soapy Eyes. Would that be all right with you?
Well, let me freshen up first, but yes, by all means, come over.
Hank investigates the cell for anything he can use to pick the lock.
Roll an investigation check.
26.
Just 2 feet outside the cell, you see a little metal clip. It almost looks like a piece of a pocket protector or some kind of office supply.
Hank deftly reaches out and pulls it back in, and starts to work picking the lock.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
27.
With a delicate click, the door gives way.
Hank slowly opens the door and ushers Charlie out.
Charlie keeps a lookout for any guards.
Both of you roll a stealth check.
17.
17.
There is no guard response to your exit.
Hank begins to pick the lock on Ike's cell.
Another sleight of hand check.
26.
And again, the same thing.
Oh, did they lock it this time?
Do they usually not lock your cell, Ike?
No, I'm much more comfortable in here. It's outside that makes me scared. I'm a bit of an agoraphobic.
Agoraphobic? I've seen that in my word-a-day calendar. Thank you for letting us into your home, Ike.
Hank begins to investigate Soapy Eye's bed.
Roll an investigation check.
26.
Hank immediately makes note of some residual bloodstains on the cement floor. The thin mattress, upon a little bit of inspection, has a clean slice in it just about 5 inches in width, right where a human neck would be if there was a person sleeping in the bed. Additionally, when Hank moves to the bars of the cell and runs his fingers over them, he comes away with a thin, metallic powder on his fingers. Hank, Chuck, roll an arcana check.
15.
7.
Chuck, you ever seen anything like this before?
No, can't say I have.
Oh, you should have seen the body. It was all over it.
This metallic powder was all over the body?
Yeah, it was all over it. When they were bringing his body down to the morgue, there was a trail of it.
Hank goes to the door, kneels down, and investigates the path, looking for any traces of the metallic powder.
Roll a perception check.
Nat 20.
Hank picks up minuscule traces of powder that lead down the hallway.
Hey, I think I can still pick it up if we want to follow it down to the morgue.
Yes, that's amazing. Hey, Ike, you want to come along?
I'm sure he's busy, right, Ike?
No plans. I don't like to leave my cell, but no plans. If you really want me to go.
No,
Yes,
we're
we'd love
good.
you to come. You're our new best friend.
Okay then, let's go.
But remember, we gotta be super duper quiet.
Got it.
Ah, Jesus Christ. Hank rolls his eyes and begins following the path.
Everybody roll a stealth check.
Nat 20.
27.
20.
Hank, Charlie, and Ike make their way down the hallway, and once in a while, far in the distance, a guard will stroll by, but pay the three no mind as they duck into the shadows or into an alcove. After 5 or 10 minutes, Hank slowly and carefully tracing the path down into the basement, the three come upon a large steel door that is locked.
Hank, you think you can pick this thing?
It's a bigger lock than the cell doors, but you guys keep watch. I'll try.
I think my hand could fit.
As Ike moves up to the lock, he finds that his pinky does actually fit.
Want me to try?
Yeah, but only if you agree never to make that sound again.
No promises.
Ike, roll a sleight of hand check with advantage.
15.
Ike retracts a bleeding pinky.
Ooh. Nope.
Hank brushes Ike aside and goes to pick the lock.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
29.
Click and a swing.
We should have gone with that the first time.
You're not wrong there, Ike. Hank pushes through the door.
And the three are inside of the morgue. On every single wall, there are 3x3 steel panels with a little knob in the center of each. Hanging from each knob is a string with a tag attached to the end of it, with various names. It takes about 2 minutes before you find James Spinelli, aka Soapy Eyes Jim.
Hank reaches for the morgue drawer and pulls it out.
And a headless body is revealed, cold and a little bit blue.
Yikes. You weren't kidding about the headless thing.
Ike looks at the body sadly, lingering just for a second on some fond memories.
Yep, that's Jim, all right. You know, they called him Soapy Eyes because I once dared him to put laundry detergent in his face. And he did it. I didn't think he would, but he did. And he ended up with these milky eyes, like a goat with cataracts. Handsome goat.
Yeah, I remember those eyes. Those were pretty hard to forget.
Yeah, super gross. Hank investigates the body.
Make an investigation check and a medicine check.
32 on the investigation, 16 on the medicine.
Hank, analyzing the body, finds the same powdery dust all over the body, especially concentrated around the wound, right by the neck. Otherwise, Soapy Eye's body is completely unmarked. There are no bruises over any piece of his body.
Hank looks around the morgue for a vial to put the dust in.
He finds one on a counter.
With a metal tool from the same counter, he collects the dust into the vial and closes it up.
As Hank collects the dust and peers at Soapy Eye's body, accidentally looking into the neck hole of the corpse, he sees a little golden glint.
Hey, Ike, bring those tiny hands over here.
At your service. What do you need?
I need you to reach inside your old friend's neck hole and pull out the golden glint you see.
Oh, gross. I'm not doing that. Wait, neck hole?
Hank lifts up the body to show Ike the neck hole. Yeah, neck hole. Come on, Ike, try to keep up here.
Hey, Hank, maybe a little decorum here. It's one of his best friends.
Chuck, we have a finite amount of time here. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to Soapy Eyes.
Wait, there's something in there.
That's what I'm saying, Ike. Can you grab it for me, please?
Hank, roll a persuasion check with disadvantage.
17.
You know, if you had asked nicely, I'd do it. Why don't you get it yourself, lock picker person?
I apologize for my associate here. He can be a little insensitive sometimes.
Hey, don't talk for me, okay? Hank reaches into the neck hole and fishes out the golden thing.
With a squelching noise, it comes loose. Hank sees a blood-soaked golden coin with the image of a stallion on it. Roll a history check.
10.
You are unaware of its origins.
Chuck, come take a look at this.
Roll a history check.
10.
Both of you are baffled.
Hey, Ike, you have any idea what this is?
He doesn't know what it is.
Hey, Hank, let him try. Be nice.
Yeah, Ike, bring your expertise over here.
Do I have to? I don't like his tone.
Please, Ike. For me.
Ike, roll a history check.
13. Ike looks at the coin closely.
Some of the Irish guys have coins like this, always flicking them up and down and catching them, and sometimes they drop them, but they pick them up and they flick them around. But wait, no, they don't have a horsey on theirs.
But you're saying specifically the Irish guys have them. Does Big Mick have one?
I'm sorry, Charles, was someone talking to me?
Yes, Ike, my associate was, but let me relay the information he was trying to say. I apologize for his rudeness. He's asking if the Irish gentlemen in this joint typically carry around these coins. Specifically, maybe members of the Irish mob?
That seems to make sense. Yeah, they always hang out with each other and they just eat potatoes and corned beef and flip their coins and punch people.
From what I've read, that sounds like the Irish. Hank, I think we got something here. The Irish mob.
But again, their coins don't have this horsey on it.
Hank stows the coin.
Hey, we should probably get back to the cells, right? Before the guards get wise?
Yeah, good thinking, Chuck. Let's get you home, Mike. I know you love your cell.
Ooh, I detect a hint of sarcasm from your stupid friend.
Okay, Hank, he definitely doesn't like you. Guys, let's just head back to the cells before, the situation gets exacerbated.
The three begin to walk back towards their cells.
I bet you two think this is my real hair.
Suddenly, there's a high, screeching tone. Everybody make a perception check.
25.
10.
16.
Both Chuck and Ike put their hands to their ears for a moment, a little shocked. But Hank, tilting his head to the side, looks at the other two curiously.
Hey, Chuck, did that sound like music to you?
I don't know, but I know I hate it.
There's a little bit of silence that follows, and no guard responds. And then suddenly, there is a chorus of metal clanging.
Hey, in prison at night, do they let every prisoner out? Because that feels like what's happening right now.
As you're walking down the block, a couple of convicts, confused, waking from their sleep, begin to poke their heads out and wander out into the hallway.
Hey, what's going on? What time is it?
What the fuck is this?
And after a couple of seconds of everybody looking around and realizing the situation, chaos ensues. Convicts immediately begin racing through the prison, mostly ignoring Hank, Chuck, and Ike, but soon there is a full-on crowd crush. As the herd of men begin to carry the trio forward, all three of you make either a dexterity save or a strength save.
18.
13.
20.
Hank and Ike manage to get to the side, avoiding most of the prisoners. But Chuck, getting carried backwards a ways, accidentally falls under everybody's boots. Chuck takes 20 damage as people stomp him into the ground, bringing him down to 115 health points. After a second, the crowd moves past Charlie, leaving him on the ground, and the three of you alone in this particular hallway.
Ow, this really hurts. Hey, turns out trampling really hurts.
In the distance, you can hear guards start to clash with the prisoners, and it sounds like it's getting violent.
Hank goes to help Charlie up.
Thanks, Hank. Ike, we gotta find a way out of here. Do you know any secret passageways or exits?
Huh, what?
Hank shakes Ike by the shoulders. Do you know any way out of here?
Hank, stop shaking him. Let him talk.
Stop shaking me.
Hank, he's telling you to stop shaking him.
Hank gives him one more violent shake and then stops.
Oh, yes, brutish man. Okay, 2 lefts, a right, and then another left.
Okay, let's make tracks.
Hank sprints off in that direction. Come on!
The other two follow behind Hank. As the three follow Ike's directions, they zoom past Big Mick, beating the living daylights out of one of the guards, wearing said guard's hat. He waves at them jovially as they pass.
Hey, Charlie! My good luck charm! Grab a gob, there's plenty to go around! Help! Shut the fuck up!
Mick, it was so great to meet you, and I consider you a friend, but we gotta go!
Hank, Chuck, and Ike continue along, and then suddenly, 10 guards burst out from a side hallway, immediately raising pistols.
Oh no! What do we do?
Hank begins to rub his hands together, and as he does, he mutters to himself, "Holin Feuer," and a spark grows in the center of each palm, forming a ball of fire, which he hurls at one of the guards.
The guard raises a riot shield as quickly as he can.
20.
Hit.
11 damage.
The guard gets the riot shield up in time, but the firebolt takes him into the back wall, knocking him out unconscious. Roll an intimidation check.
22.
The guards scatter.
Holy shit!
Hank makes for the hole in the group and dives through, continuing down the path at full sprint.
They finally reach the precipice of the conflict between the guards and the prisoners. The fight is vicious and brutal, but as you look on, Big Mick barrels past you with Shea, Dempsey in tow.
See you on the outside, boys. Got me a boat to catch.
Finish all around, fuckers!
And Big Mick, lowering his shoulder, plows through the reinforced metal door, leading to the outside. You see him sprint forward, still with his shoulder lowered, and he blasts through the barbed wire fence like it's nothing, and the prisoners take his lead.
I guess we're free early, Hank. Let's beat feet.
Hank sprints out the door behind Mick.
Ike, we're free. Do you want to come out with us?
Ike has stopped short of the exterior, all of the other prisoners streaming past you. Ike, roll a charisma save.
8.
No, I think I'll stay here. I got the whole place to myself.
Hank is almost to the exterior wall. Come on, Chuck.
Come on, Ike. They say the best way to defeat your fear is to face it head on.
Roll a persuasion check.
16.
Ike, roll a charisma save with advantage.
18.
Well, okay, I'll go with you, but I think your friend's a wizard.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. He is.
Don't tell people that.
Right, he is, but don't tell anybody. It's a secret.
Don't tell anybody what. I had a head injury.
Let's go.
I'm Ike.
The prisoners have gathered up on the edge of Rikers Island, but all of them are looking around frustrated and yelling at each other, unsure of what to do. About 50 feet on the water, leaving the island, are Big Mick, Shea Dempsey, and a few other members of the Irish mob.
What do we do now?
Come on, let's find a place to lay low until Dick McCoy shows back up. Ike, I hate to say it, but you've been an asset today. So you're welcome to share our hiding spot.
Aw, I think we've made a breakthrough.
The three begin to walk back towards the prison, about to look for a place to hide, when suddenly, all of the shouting at the ocean's edge stops.
Hank turns back to look.
All of the prisoners are staring out at the water, standing straight up tall and not moving, and all of them have gone completely silent. Another high tone pierces the air.
Hank goes up to the nearest prisoner and slaps his face a bit.
As soon as you get up close to him and turn him around, his eyes are completely purple. His pupil and irises are not visible.
Oh shit, Chuck, this is just like when Marblemouth controlled those guys.
Oh my god, you're right. Do you think that music could be...
And then the entire crowd of prisoners turns to face Hank, Charlie, and Ike.
Hello, boys.
Ike, make a wisdom save.
14.
Oh, I don't feel so good.
Ike, make another wisdom save.
21.
Ike this time begins bracing his head and whimpering as a pain apparently seems to strike him.
Stop, please. I'll do anything, just get out of my head.
Ike, you okay?
Ike, make one more wisdom save.
7.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, I feel better.
And then Ike's eyes go purple, all at once.
I do, I just...
Chuck, we gotta go.
He just made a breakthrough. Ike, say something!
And then, slowly, prisoners begin to pass Hank and Chuck, walking back a little bit towards the prison, completely ignoring them.
Hank tentatively follows the crowd, staying back a little bit just to observe.
Charlie follows suit, watching Ike go with the crowd.
Hank and Charlie, following behind, eventually see several guards walk out of the prison, one with his entire uniform burned. They begin to walk and join the prisoners. Going along the edge of the Rikers complex, they come upon an enormous grate. 5 or 6 prisoners move in tandem and yank the grate up. And slowly, prisoners and guards form a single file line and begin to descend into the sewer. Ike ends up next to Hank and Charlie, and with one tiny hand, grasps Charlie's arm. As Charlie looks down at Ike, he sees just a little bit of the human eyes poking through the purple haze. And Ike, struggling as hard as he can, whispers,
Charlie does not need to be told twice.
Hank motions for the two of them to run back into the now empty prison.
Hank, what are you doing? You want to go back in there?
There's gotta be a phone in one of these offices. Let's call Dick McCoy and get the hell out of here.
All right, after you.
Hank and Charlie's footsteps echo in the completely empty prison. They find a small door agape and a telephone on a desk. They dial the number. It rings once, twice, 3 times, and then...
Sergeant Dick McCoy, 44th Precinct.
Dick! Oh my god, I'm so glad I got you.
Who's calling?
This is Hank.
Hank? Hank who? Blackstone?
Yes, Hank Blackstone. How many Hanks do you know, Dick?
How are you on the phone?
Listen, there's been a big to-do at Rikers. You gotta come pick us up as soon as possible.
I'm on my way, okay.
The phone goes dead.
I wish he had stayed on the line long enough for me to say that there were a bunch of mind-controlled prisoners and stuff, but yeah, he's always doing that.
Was it implied?
No, I just said a big to-do at Rikers. I don't think that means anything.
All right, did he say he was coming soon?
Yeah, he said he was on his way.
Okay, let's hold out till he arrives.
Hank and Charlie wait a couple hours, finding shelter in the small office, and finally wander outside of Rikers Island to meet Dick McCoy's ferry, the headlights illuminating Hank and Charlie alone on the island. There is not another person in sight, and the sewer grate, when Hank and Charlie go and investigate it, has been replaced and welded shut. The ferry rolls up, Sergeant McCoy hops out onto the grass. Where is everybody?
That's a complicated question.
We'll tell you on the way back, Dick. We have a lot to talk about. Hank pulls out the Celtic prism and holds it up to the moonlight. We got a lot to talk about.
Hit it, boys! Yeah, just like that. Watch your step when you step outside. The roads are narrow and the river's wide, and no one knows what waits inside. So watch your step when you step outside. Outside. And watch your step when the path is slick. The shadows here can play a dirty trick, and moonlight's such a fickle guide. So watch your step when you step outside.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams, George Primavera, and Jack Quaid, with associate producers Marty Abbe-Schneider and Dylan McCollum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Jack Quaid, Nolan North, Dylan McCollum, Marty Abbe-Schneider, and Gabe Greenspan. Theme song written and performed by Matthew McCollum. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod and Ben Doyle for their amazing music, Mage Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, Marty Abbe-Schneider for his incredible artwork, and Ali Cantonese, our hero. Thanks for listening and welcome to the club.
Watch your step, it's critical, you don't botch your step. Oh, watch your step when you step outside. Oh,
I bet you two think this is my real hair.
Perfect. Oh, man.
Hold on.
You know what?